Hello, I'm John Treeweiler, Public Information Officer with the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and today on Arizona Wildlife Views, we'll take a look at the increasing threat that drought in Arizona is causing for wildlife and how the department is coming to their aid. Plus, we'll take a look at low water levels at Lake Powell and Lee's Ferry and the effects of the drought all across Arizona. We've got all this important information and more right now on Arizona Wildlife Views.
Arizona Wildlife Views is brought to you by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and the Heritage Fund, lottery dollars working for wildlife. Some projects made possible by the Sport Fish and Wildlife Restoration Fund.
Hello and welcome to this special drought-focused edition of Arizona Wildlife Views. Today we'll take a look at drought in Arizona and what it means for wildlife populations and their habitat. And we'll also show you how the Arizona Game and Fish Department is working year-round to conserve and protect these species.
In Arizona we've had decades of drought.
So we're at Carnero Lake, or more specifically what used to be the lake bottom of Carnero Lake. As you can see, it's pretty dry right now.
The signs are everywhere and the data are clear. Arizona's been in a cycle of drought for more than 20 years.
We went, nearly 18 months recently without really measurable precipitation on the ground.
These long dry spells are threatening some of Arizona's most iconic places.
This has been something that we've been very afraid of for at least the past decade.
One of the things that we're certainly seeing with the drier conditions we've had in the last couple of decades is the increase in invasive species and the increase in wildfire.
As a fisheries biologist in the Southwest, drought is constantly on my mind. And if we're not getting water, it's going to make managing fish really, really tough.
Drought is tough on all wildlife.
You get lower reproduction because the females that are pregnant just don't have the nutrition they need to produce healthy fawns and healthy calves. But also with those dry conditions, animals are just poorer condition overall. So there's a lot of things that can increase their mortality during those drought periods.
One year of good rainfall is not going to make up for 30 years of drought.
It's a challenge for the Arizona Game and Fish Department, which conserves and protects more than 800 species.
Drought is definitely an issue for our job as frog biologists.
Drought has always been a factor in wildlife management, but the severity of drought in recent years has really raised the stakes.
It's somewhere between business as usual and being super concerned.
The Game and Fish Commission responded by making planning for drought a priority.
And there's a lot of discussion about how to prepare for this trend in the future and being more resilient to these dry periods. And there's a lot of things that the department can do, especially in collaboration with other agencies.
Like delivering water to wildlife, it's something Game and Fish has done since the 1950s. Today, the agency manages about 3,000 wildlife waters, including man-made catchments that collect and store rainwater.
And when we get into a dry situation where there's not much rainfall to recharge those, we've got water trucks, we've got a whole system where we have for decades been hauling water, and we'll haul a couple million gallons of water every year to recharge those water sources throughout that wildlife habitat.
It's expensive, and because Game and Fish gets no financial support from state general fund tax dollars, it appreciates people's donations through sendwater.org.
It's been great to have the public help us help wildlife and provide them with water during those dry times.
All species, even our desert-adapted animals, are affected by drought, but smaller birds and mammals often feel it first.
With something like quail, if you get these good stretches or bad stretches of drought, they can suffer. You know, in a good year, in a wet year, you're going to see lots of quail on the ground. In a dry year, you're going to see fewer quail on the ground.
Larissa Harding, the statewide small game program manager for Game and Fish, is counting the breeding calls of Gamble's quail.
What that means is that we go out every spring and we count the number of male breeding calls that we hear. We have usually a 20-mile transect that we drive, and we stop every mile of that transect and listen for 3 minutes and count as many of those calls as we hear.
It's a pretty good indicator of future breeding activity and overall population health.
And, you know, we do try to improve habitats, enhance habitats.
Habitat restoration for some animals includes modifying fences. By replacing the lowest strand of a barbed wire fence with smooth wire, pronghorn can safely slip beneath it.
Movement is key, because in dry periods, they may not have the water hole that they've always had. So anything we can do to facilitate more connectivity across the landscape and more habitat connectedness is always a good thing to do when we talk about being more resilient to these drought periods.
Well, we are trying to conserve and protect Yurok leopard frogs. We're trying to get populations back on the landscape across the range in Arizona. And the habitat restoration that we do is essentially trying to increase permanency and surface area of water.
Spring-fed waters, once thought to be permanent, were going dry. By restoring springs, cleaning sediment out of ponds and stock tanks, or adding a liner, biologists are making habitat more reliable for endangered Chiricahua leopard frogs.
Just, ensuring that we will have that water there. And that's going to be good for the frog. It's also going to be good for elk, turkey, bear. Water is good for all wildlife.
38.
It's absolutely critical for the little Colorado spine dace. This tiny fish is a threatened species that's native to Arizona.
One of the things we're concerned about with the conditions being so dry over the past few years is that, one, the site has water, and two, that the fish are still persisting in spite of the dry conditions that the state's been exposed to the last few years.
Back in 2020, this spine dace habitat dried completely.
And we were able to get in there and conduct a salvage of those fish, and we're able to move them to another location.
Biologists have been moving these fish into new habitat ever since the early 2000s, when they existed in just one stream that was in danger of going dry.
From worrying about the species standpoint, it's less worrisome now because we have them in more places, but the flip side of that coin is things are drier. We're on this drying trend, it's kind of scary.
Oh, there's one right there.
Fisheries biologist Zach Beard was thrilled to find Gila trout in this recovery stream.
It's always a great feeling to see that they're holding on several years after you put them here.
He oversees the conservation of Arizona's native Apache and Gila trout. Both species are listed as threatened, and drought is a serious challenge to their recovery.
The snow is what we really need. The last few years we just have not been getting it. Having snow built up that can slowly melt off into the streams helps recharge the groundwater, which feeds a lot of these streams, but it also helps keep these streams at a lot cooler temperatures well into the hot summer, which is great for native trout. They don't like warm stream temperatures. It really makes things tough on them.
Wildfires are one of the biggest threats to native trout. Erosion and flooding that occurs after a big fire washes toxic ash into streams that kills fish, and it can take years for habitat to recover.
We get quite a few populations out on the landscape, and then every few years a fire comes along and takes out a whole bunch of them, and it can be really disheartening at times, but you have to realize that if we don't keep going, these fish will probably go extinct and they won't be here anymore.
Things have changed a lot, especially with water quality.
Ryan Fometh is the aquatic program manager for Game and Fish in Pine Top.
Even 2 years ago, before we had these really dry winters, we would be standing in maybe 3 feet of water.
Carnero Lake in the White Mountains is critically low after several years of below average snow.
This is definitely the extreme example, and that's just because this lake was never very deep. It was basically 8 feet deep, But you can see this same phenomenon with these low water levels at almost every fishery on the east side of the White Mountains. So, Big Lake is another great example. It's down probably close to 7 feet.
Only one of 3 boat ramps is usable, and it's been extended several times to keep up with the receding shoreline. But launching a boat here is far from ideal.
Crescent Lake used to be one of our most important fisheries in the whole state. Due to water quality and quantity issues, it's very difficult to have a fish survive a year in Crescent Lake right now.
When lakes get low, they get warmer and water quality declines. Game and Fish won't stock these lakes when conditions are poor. It hasn't stocked Crescent Lake since 2019, and it didn't stock Carnero Lake in 2021 and 22.
We have never not been able to stock 2 years in a row.
There's still good fishing in the White Mountains, especially during the spring and the fall when water temperatures are cooler. And up north at Lake Powell, fishing is strong, even though the lake dropped to historic lows in 2022.
But we have areas in this lake that are 200 to 300 foot deep still. So I've been out here on the lake. September of 2020 was my first year, so 2 years now.
In just that short amount of time, wildlife manager Abby Fettern has seen some pretty big changes.
The water was sitting right above where that white container unit is sitting. And so this whole dock, everything was up about 40 to 50 feet. So Glen Canyon Dam is right behind me. It's an electrical dam, that's what it produces. When I started here, the water was probably about 50 feet higher than it is right now. Historically, it's where that white line used to be.
The lake's annual inflow has been below average for most of the last 20 years.
The main issue for anglers and for recreators is lake access. It's just we only have one main ramp right now for people to retrieve and launch their vessels.
It's a problem, but the greater concern is on the other side of the dam.
We're now on the downstream side of Glen Canyon Dam. The Colorado River runs about 250 miles from Lake Powell upstream of there down to Lake Mead. And while all of the changes are very apparent up on Powell with the big white bathtub ring around it, down here the changes are far more subtle but far more important to fish.
Scott Rogers is a fisheries biologist who spent much of his career working on the Colorado River. The first 15 miles below the dam is a blue ribbon rainbow trout fishery known as Lee's Ferry. Further downstream is important habitat for native fish, including the threatened humpback chub.
We've had really remarkably special temperatures in here, in a narrow band of about 5 degrees. These were temperatures that were cold enough in the upper part here for rainbow trout. They were warm enough for native fish downstream, like the humpback chub, but they weren't quite warm enough for species like smallmouth bass, which are really bad for both the sport fishery and the native fish downstream, to reproduce in this area. So it was the perfect narrow band of temperatures.
Non-native smallmouth bass are aggressive predators that live in Lake Powell. They've passed through the dam before, but the river was always too cold for them to reproduce. Historically, it was cold water from the depths of Lake Powell that flowed through the dam's penstocks and into the Colorado River. Now the lake is so low that those pipes are filling with warmer water near the surface of the lake. As a result, river temperatures are rising.
Close to 68 degrees, or potentially even 70 in the near future. Those are temperatures that are really bad for trout up here in the upper part of the river. And they're also warm enough that any smallmouth bass that gets entrained in the dam and comes through can spawn. And if we build a large population of smallmouth bass in the Colorado River, it will have huge impacts specifically to the native fish downstream.
In July of 2022, National Park Service biologists made an alarming discovery. They caught 3 juvenile smallmouth bass, each about 2 centimeters long, just a few miles below the dam.
And so there's a really good indication that there was at least some spawning in an area called the Slough here in the Lee's Ferry Reach. We were afraid of it for years, but now we've arrived.
Once smallmouth bass are established in the river, it will be extremely difficult to get rid of them.
And we will do all that we can with nets and electroshocking and with some type of mechanical removal to remove those fish, but you have to keep the water cold. That's pretty much the only solution. But we try to stay as optimistic as we can, and we're looking for the next solution around every corner.
All across Arizona, game and fish biologists and their partners are doing their best to find creative solutions to some very serious problems caused by drought.
The message isn't, we got it all under control and everything's fine, but that we have a lot of tools at our disposal, and we're collaborating with a lot of people to work hard to continually adapt to these changing conditions, and that's what we do as a wildlife agency.
To use the biology of the species and the biology of the landscape and what we know of good science to try to manage wildlife in the best way we can.
On a cold November morning in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest south of Alpine, a group has gathered near the Raspberry Creek trailhead with a common goal in mind.
Today we brought 250 of the Whiskey Creek lineage Gila trout, and these came out of the Mora National Fish Hatchery. They're about 4 inches long, and we'll be stocking them in Raspberry Creek.
All of the Gila trout species that Arizona Game and Fish are replicating come from New Mexico's Mora National Fish Hatchery. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is an important partner in Arizona's Gila trout recovery process, as well as the volunteers, Arizona Game and Fish Department staff, and Trout Unlimited representatives taking part in the hike to help reestablish Gila trout in Raspberry Creek.
Those fish will go into the trash bag with a little bit of water, and then we'll actually fill up that trash bag with oxygen, seal that bag, put it in a bucket, put it on a frame pack, and then hike these fish down into where their new home is.
I bet we're at least 20 pounds with the bucket and then another 10 with my bag. So overall with everything, probably close to 40 pounds. This is the best part of my job, to be able to help out game and fish and do something that feels tangible. You know, a lot of this time it's paperwork, emails, but this is hands-on and happy to be out here.
1, 2, 3.
The remote nature of Raspberry Creek requires that the fingerlings be carried down in buckets along a hiking trail. As the trail gains elevation, New Mexico can be seen on the horizon.
It's not the easiest process in the world to get these fish in there. You know, we're hiking about 3.5 miles down just to get to the stream. 1,000-foot elevation loss. We've got some heavy packs on. So we were in here a year ago sampling, and this tributary to our side was not flowing at all. So it was really impacted by the drought. What we're seeing right now is this, you know, nearly what seemed to be a record-setting monsoon, and it really did help our streams out.
Once the crew arrives at the creek, the temperature of the water in the buckets and the creek are assessed to make sure the fish will have a smooth transition.
We're out here today stocking Gila trout, Whiskey Creek lineage, and Raspberry Creek, which is one of our Gila trout recovery streams here in Arizona. This population was originally started in 2000, persisted until 2011 when the wildfire came through. Population was then eliminated. Then took 7 years for that habitat to recover. And after that, we came back and started the population again in 2018. Stocked it 3 consecutive years from 2018 through 2020. Did a full survey in 2021, found that numbers weren't what we would like to see. And so we're out here again to try to augment the population and put more fish in and hope we can boost numbers so this population gets to be what we want it to be.
Gila trout are threatened under the Endangered Species Act, and that's why the work to recover them in Arizona's streams and creeks is so important.
So there are 5 genetic lineages of Gila trout that still remain on the landscape, and Whiskey Creek is one of those. And part of our goals in Gila trout recovery is to replicate those replicates in as many streams as possible, at least a minimum of 3 across their historic range. They were actually extirpated from Arizona at one point We're now back up to 8 populations, but we would like to see it a lot higher than that.
Wildfires and also drought have played a role in slowing the recovery process for Gila trout in Arizona.
Obviously, drought can dry up the stream. There's no water at all. But the other thing is, like, when water gets really low, it's a lot more susceptible to getting increased stream temperatures. And Gila trout are a cold water species, which means they need colder stream temperatures to survive. So as temperatures get too hot, Gila trout do not do well and can even die from extremely warm water temperatures.
Short term, things are looking good for Gila trout across Arizona, although the long-term outlook is still coming into focus.
So Raspberry Creek is one of our newer recovery populations. The main goal of that recovery stream is to first establish a healthy Gila trout population. The secondary goal is to open it to catch and release angling, but we have to establish that healthy Gila trout population first. And so Raspberry Creek is not currently open to angling, but we're hoping one day through stockings like these and continued growth here in Raspberry Creek, we'll see them open up to catch and release angling like some of our other Gila trout recovery streams have already opened.
We've got a water haul that we're taking down to Madera Canyon.
On a muggy, cloudy day, James Hester and Dale Bradshaw, volunteers with the Arizona Game and Fish Department in Tucson, are showing Tucson media how they maintain and fill this water catchment in Madera Canyon.
This catchment, as you can look at the ground, and you can see how much it's torn up. That gives you an idea on how many animals are using this.
We're here today to support the marketing of the Send Water campaign. The hope is to haul 3 million gallons of water this year. Last year we hauled 2.4 million statewide.
For several years now, Arizona Game and Fish has hauled water to Madera Canyon and other wildlife areas statewide to fill these catchments and water basins to provide water for wildlife. Typically, Game and Fish hauls and flies in water to these catchments during the summer. But in these past couple of record-breaking heat and drought-filled years, water hauling has often been needed in winter months too.
We're finding more and more our wild animals that normally you would see in the mountains and in the foothills and what have you, down in the suburban areas, drinking out of people's pools, bird water.
We had a young bear in the Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. That is not bear habitat, it's a grassland. It's very low elevation, but it came all the way down probably from the Babaquiri Mountains to get a sip from the catchment there. So we see how extreme the situation is for wildlife.
Though there has been some Arizona monsoon rain activity in these last few weeks, most of the state remains in some measure of drought.
We can only hope we can haul enough water, though we don't lose any because of the drought.
The water catchments in Tucson and around the state cost nearly $1 million a year to maintain and operate. The Arizona Game and Fish Department receives no tax dollars from the state. In 2018, the department launched the Send Water Donation Fund. All the money donated goes right back into the fund.
This is a costly process, and so we're getting really a lot of good participation from the citizen that is donating to our water fund, and which helps pay for the tires and a variety of other things that we use.
This kind of stuff is what it's all about when you're working at Game and Fish. We're doing stuff on the ground that we know directly benefits wildlife and the landscape overall. It's a very rewarding thing to be involved with.
If you'd like to help, visit sendwater.org. Arizonans know all too well the havoc that summer monsoons can wreak on our homes and yards. The fact that many times they seem to occur fast and furious, leaving more dirt than they do rain, can also be frustrating for hot, summer-weary residents. But once in a while, when you hear the thunder rumbling in the distance, in skies that turn a dark shade of blue and black. You can smell the raindrops when they hit the desert floor. And you know you're going to be in for something special. According to the National Weather Service, Arizona's monsoon season officially begins on June 15th and ends on September 30th. The monsoons can be stunningly beautiful, but also extremely destructive. And what was once a dry mountain wash can turn into a dangerous, violent river in a short period of time. In the days and weeks after, you see what the storm left behind. Plump, water-satiated saguaros and a green carpet of new growth on the mountain's desert floor. And that's when you know that water is life in Arizona.
That's going to do it for this episode of Arizona Wildlife Views. For more information on how you can help the Arizona Game and Fish Department fight drought in our state, visit this website. Until next time, get out there and enjoy those Arizona Wildlife Views.
To subscribe to Arizona Wildlife Views magazine, which includes the Arizona Wildlife Views calendar, visit www.azgfd.gov/magazine.